Curious what it's actually like to sail Virgin Voyages as Mega Rockstars? Well, then this is the episode for you. We're gonna break it down from everything from food, drinks, the crew, and at the very end, we're gonna talk about our overall feel of it, if it's really worth that splurge, so make sure you stay tuned till the end.
From the perks to what shocked us the most about this cruise line, learn all about that in this Mega Rockstar review that you've all been waiting for. Rock on! Just before we get started, just a little note. We stayed in a gorgeous suite.
Which, for anybody that has no idea on their rooms, that is your entry-level Mega Rockstar room.
Yep, and we paid for this cruise on our own, so everything is our opinion and based on our experience.
Yeah. So let's dive into a little bit about Virgin Voyages, what the cruise is like, and just some of the general information in case you are not familiar with Virgin.
Cue rock music. So before we get started in the review section, just a little bit about Virgin Voyages. It is an 18+ cruise line, adults only, although is an 18-year-old an adult?
Legally.
I guess legally. But one of the nice things about Virgin Voyages is a lot is included in your base fare. So all your tips and gratuities are included, all the dining is included, all your soda and water is included, Wi-Fi is included, including good Wi-Fi. It's the way you get around the ship. Also, tea and coffee is included, and they offer robust fitness courses that we will put a picture of here.
We tried it.
And then the entertainment, everything is included in your base fare.
Yeah, so that's no matter what room you're in, that is all included. We'll get into all the stuff that you get as Mega Rockstars. But the other things that are included is if you're sailing in the Caribbean and you go to Bimini, Bahamas, you get to go to their private island area, which is called the Bimini Beach Club. Everybody has access to that. As Mega Rockstars, you have additional perks, or just Rockstars in general, actually. Don't have to be Mega to have the additional perks in Bimini. And then I said Rockstar or Mega Rockstar. When you sail with Virgin, their suite level starts at Mega Rockstar. It starts at Rockstar, and then you go up to Mega Rockstar is their higher end suite level.
Yep. Those that are familiar with how Royal Caribbean does their classification, think of this as Sky Class versus Star Class.
That's a good example. And then just some other unique things when it comes to Virgin is things like they have a tattoo parlor on board, which is just unique and different. I don't know any other cruise line that does that.
With rotating artists. So.
Okay, good to know. I have 0 tattoos. He's got the tattoos. So that's why he knows that. And then they just have other unique things, like at night to keep in mind. They have a pajama party. When we were on board, it was around Christmas time, so it was an ugly sweater Christmas pajama party. Mouthful, but that's what ours was.
That is a mouthful.
And then they also do Scarlet Night, which is everybody dresses up in red and everything is super decorated in red and octopuses and octopi. What is it, octopi?
I think it's octopi.
And just all that kind of fun
octopuses?
stuff. I don't know.
No, it's gotta be octopi.
I think it's octopi. Let us know in the comments below which one's the correct one.
It is very different than the other cruise lines, and you will see why in the next section.
Yes.
So stay tuned to the end.
So the other thing to just mention about Virgin is, as of filming this, the places that they currently sail is the Caribbean, North America, sailing out of New York, as well as LA, some of Canada, and then Europe. And now they are also starting Alaska, which would be very interesting.
I'm not sure this ship should go to Alaska.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
We'll get into a little bit more Virgin. That one's an interesting one from people that have done Alaska a bunch of times. By the end of the day in Alaska, you get tired. You're kind of ready for bed. You're not really ready to party. Or at least we're not, because we've been out and about hiking and
we're getting old.
well, we are getting old. But yeah, that's a different location.
All right, now let's get into the criteria. And as we always do, we will grade these on a scale of 1 to 5 on what it was like. And at the end, we'll give our overall experience, how we kind of rate it, and then if we would do it again.
And we're going to start with my favorite topic, which is food.
I think everyone could have guessed that.
Okay, so food. I think I'll take over since this is mostly my favorite category. All of the restaurants are basically considered specialty restaurants. There are no extra ones you can pay more for, are there?
Nope.
No, there is nothing on board Explorer that costs extra like a typical specialty restaurant.
We weren't on Explorer.
Not Explorer. There are no restaurants on Virgin that cost extra. Like your typical other cruises, you always have specialty restaurants, but all of the restaurants are special and they're all included, which is kind of awesome. So you have everything from test kitchen, which is more of your
gastronomy, kind of introductory gastronomy.
Yeah. Gumbe, which is Korean barbecue, Italian. You have the Wake, which is kind of like your steakhouse. You have Razzle Dazzle, which is your more vegetarian and vegan option. You have a Mexican restaurant, which is Pink Agave. And then you have the buffet, which has many, many options, including sushi, which is nice. Yeah, there's so many food options. You will not go hungry. And then there's a few other like fast casual ones on like the top deck. That was more like Asian fusion as well. That was very tasty. But I have to say, the food was surprising.
Yeah, it was probably our favorite included food in any cruise line other than Explorer.
Other than Explorer. Explorer still is number one for us.
It was really good. I was very impressed with it. Whether it was brunch, lunch, dinner, breakfast, whatever it was all really good.
And I think that was your biggest fear, was that the food wasn't going to be good, and then the whole thing would just not be as much fun.
Yeah. Now, the one thing I would say is typically when you're booking a suite, you have your own restaurant for suite guests, or a lot of times that's how the new ships are doing it. Virgin does not do that, so when you're a Rockstar or Mega Rockstar, you do not have your own restaurant to eat at.
Correct, which is a bit of a downfall. I mean...
But as a Mega Rockstar and a Rockstar, you do get to book the restaurants early, so you do get your pick. So a lot of the times we see reviews on Virgin that are people are not Rockstars or Mega Rockstars, they have trouble getting the restaurant they want at the time they want. That is not an issue with Rockstar or Mega Rockstar.
Yeah, and we'll go into that a little bit more on when we talk about the overall everything you get, but that is a plus when it comes to being Mega Rockstars, but kind of wish there was something else that just made you feel a little fancier. Even if it was a breakfast place or something, there was nothing that was extra.
So overall, what would you give the food on Virgin? And then 3. 1.
Out of what number? 5?
1 to 5. We always do.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
4.5.
All right. So average of 4.25.
Okay. We'll just give it a 4.
So next we'll move on to drinks, which is a major category on Virgin.
And your favorite category.
My favorite category. So as you book a Mega Rockstar suite, it includes all of your drinks, up to $25 a drink, and that is unlimited. You can also order 2 bottles of wine a day, up to $90 a bottle.
Each day.
Plus, you have a bar in your room that is replenished on a daily basis. That includes the fridge as well as alcohol bottles on the shelf. It even gives you a cocktail mixer if you want to make cocktails in your room. Not exactly sure why you need to do that, since you can just go to the bar. But
if you want to, you can.
Yeah. So basically everything is included on the ship when you get on from an alcohol perspective. That also includes, as previously stated, all your soda, all your coffee, all your tea. Smoothies are included. And even when you go to the coffee shop, you can get the specialty coffees. You can get these little ginger shots.
I enjoyed those.
I don't know what those are called, but the little shots
like
are
the energy shots. The immune boosting shots.
Immune boosting shots. Those are all included. So basically, you don't need to spend a penny on drinks when you get on the ship.
And something I never thought I would say is, honestly, I think it's too much alcohol.
It's 100% too much alcohol.
It's a little scary how much we were given, if I'm going to be honest. I loved it, and we definitely used it.
You walk in, there's a bottle of Moet in your fridge, a bottle of Moet Rosé in your fridge. Moet Rosé is not included in the drinks package, as you will find out. But Moet is.
The only thing, too, is if you wanted, let's say, the Moet Rosé, and it is above that $90 wine thing. Unfortunately, if it's, let's say it's, I don't remember the exact price, but let's say it's $95. Unfortunately, you don't just pay the $5 difference, you actually have to pay for the whole bottle.
But you do get a 20% discount.
Yes, but yeah, that's just...
There's no reason to spend more than $90 on a bottle when you get 2 included. Nice benefit is you can also give a bottle to someone. So what we would do at dinner is we could order a glass of wine of the different ones we wanted to taste, as well as a bottle. We would order the bottle and give it to a couple sitting next to us, or walk around and find a couple that on the ship that would enjoy the bottle, so we'd hand it to them. It's kind of like a...
It was just a nice gift. It was a nice way to start to meet people. It was a nice way to just see people like light up and get so excited that they got a free bottle of wine. And for us, it was nothing. Like, it was already included. We didn't need more than 1 bottle, but it was just a nice little It's a nice thing to kind of socialize as well.
Yeah, and that benefit is huge. Like the drinks package, I don't know how to even quantify what it's worth, but it is probably the best drinks package we've gotten at sea so far.
Agreed. And to add to that though, if you are not a Mega Rockstar, you do not get, there are no drink packages. You have a bar tab if you're anywhere else. The Rockstars do get a limited bar in their room, and we'll go into that a little bit later, but if you're in just a normal room, there is no drinks package like you would typically think of as like Royal or NCL or Carnival or any of the other big lines. It's just a bar tab.
Yep.
So that was a huge, huge benefit as Mega Rockstars.
So now we gotta grade this one. 1, 2, 3, 5. 5 out of 5. If I could go higher than a 5, I would.
It was a 6.
Yes.
Can I give it a 6? I'm giving it a
Yes.
6. Okay, so the next category is rooms. We were the entry-level room as a Mega Rockstar.
Now, if anyone would like us to go into the Virgin Voyages biggest room,
Oh, that one's crazy.
but we're gonna leave this just the gorgeous suite, which we experienced.
I will say they do have some really cool rooms, one like after our
They
level.
have guitars in rooms.
Yeah, well, the biggest one has guitars and you can take guitar lessons and all that crazy stuff.
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, you can get lessons like
It
while
was
you're
only
on.
triple the price.
But I will say our room was similar in size and shape to some of the Rockstar rooms. The next one up from ours did have more of like a living room kind of feel, but ours was definitely the smallest Mega Rockstar room.
Yeah, but it's plenty big for two
Plenty.
people. And most of the time you're walking around the ship or experiencing the ports, you're there to sleep
Yeah.
and party. Because you do have a spinny thing.
You do have a record player.
That's-
That's the spinny thing that Jack is referring to.
You do have a record player, you can't play music, you can't make drinks in your room, so you can technically party in your room.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge couch. There's plenty of space if you wanted to have a few people in your room. There's definitely space for it. You wouldn't feel overly crowded.
It's super modern. It's very European style, Virgin style. It's red.
It wasn't red, but that's okay.
Okay, it wasn't red. The lights turn red though.
Okay.
So you can control the lights. You can control everything on the iPad in the room. I don't know if it's an iPad or just another tablet, but the tablet in the room. It does have a large TV that can come off the wall, so you can watch TV if you want. And they had a wide variety of options to watch. The bathroom is all
Huge.
marble, but it's all marble.
Yes.
Yes. But it only has one sink.
Yeah, but it was a very large sink, and there was still plenty of like space on the sides.
Yeah.
But yes, it was one sink. Which,
Storage in the bathroom was not a problem.
There was storage on the bottom, but there was nothing to like close your storage in. Like there was
Yeah.
no cabinets in the bathroom, but like the rest of the storage in that room was like too much. Like you could very comfortably live in it for like a month and not be like, oh,
Yes.
I don't have enough space for my clothes or anything. The balcony was a good size. I would say the furniture and stuff on the balcony, they could maybe elevate a little bit just because there's kind of a lot of dead space. You could maybe put like an outdoor couch or something. But the hammock,
Emma fell in love with the hammock. Now, I think that one thing they could do is potentially put a second hammock in these bigger balconies.
because there
Just-
is space.
Yeah, there is space because I felt a little left out as Emma took over. Not really, but I think you could. The other thing I'm not sure is needed is there's an outdoor shower, and I'm not sure why it's there because you can only use it in ports.
No, you can't use it in ports.
Oh, you can't use it in ports. You can only use it at sea,
Correct.
which is a bit windy and cold.
Well, for our sailing, we had some weather, so
Yeah.
we didn't have an opportunity
So,
to try it out.
I mean, it was cool that it was there. We did not use it.
Yeah, just another option
Yep, but you also get a nice fridge in your room.
that's stocked and everything.
Plenty of closets, good makeup area, I would assume, since I did my makeup every day. Mirrors were adequate.
I mean, you did have some glitter on your face.
I did
like,
have some
a few
glitters,
times.
yes.
So.
And the nice thing is to get in your room, there's no room card. You use your
That
little,
is
you
nice.
use your little wristband that we still own because they're pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very cool.
All right, so we're gonna score the room now. So we got it on 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so if you're new here or you have watched several of our videos and you haven't done this already, can you please hit that subscribe button? It really helps YouTube push the video. Also, if you give it a thumbs up, that helps as well. Comment below helps. And then if you want to stay tuned for our latest episodes coming out every week, hit the notification bell and you'll get an alert every time we post one.
Yeah. Okay, so the next topic is what is included. We're gonna go over everything that's included when you're a Mega Rockstar, and then after that, I'll just briefly say what's included if you are just a Rockstar, just so you kind of get an idea what's the actual difference between the two, since there is a good price difference. Let's start with before you're even on the ship. You get contacted before and all the stuff like you would normally in any suite, but...
By the Red Glove service.
Yes, you were the one that did that.
Yes. So you'll get contacted several times via email with your preferences. You can also book a pre-cruise and post-cruise transfer from...
Which is what I was going to go into.
Yeah, but they pick you up in a limo, either at the airport or basically wherever you want within, I believe it's 50 minutes of the port. You'll get picked up, free of charge. You schedule it with that Red Glove service. And then at the end of the cruise, we just got off the cruise and our limo was waiting for us to take us to our next place.
Which was pretty fun. I will say that's the first time we've had that kind of experience with a cruise, and it was a very nice way to start and end it.
I did not see any paparazzi though, so I was a bit disappointed there. But overall, that was that is a humongous benefit for people that know Miami cruise port and know how congested it can be to not have to wait for anything. You just get off; it's already there.
Yes, it was a huge plus.
So just to reiterate, what's included in the drinks is this is what's included. You get up to $25 a drink, up to 2 bottles of wine that are $90 a piece a day, plus all of your soda, beverage, coffee, teas that you would like, specialties. So everything.
And the massive bar in your room.
Oh, and the massive bar in your room with these cute, like mid-sized bottles of alcohol.
Yeah.
Like they're not ladle bottles, but they're not big bottles. They're kind of like, I don't know, half bottles.
It was a lot of alcohol. Yes. There was no limit.
And you can request what you want. They'll change it out. If you don't like something, they'll replace it. If you finish a bottle, they'll replace it. So just remember that. You also do, which is a huge benefit, is free unlimited laundry. So every day in the morning, we would bag up our laundry. It would be returned to our room at night from the day before.
It was a nice perk.
We came back with no dirty laundry.
It was really nice to not have
But you don't understand how big a perk that is until you have it.
Yeah, or until you travel enough and you're like, oh, I gotta do laundry again and
yes.
organize all this. Another perk you get as being Mega Rockstars is you get access to the thermal spa. This is a nice perk to have because not all cruise lines do this by any stretch of the imagination. But as Mega Rockstars, you get free, unlimited. It is open from 6 a.m. till midnight, which is also very, very long. You can go multiple times. You don't need to make a reservation. You go a few times a day if you were so inclined to. Where if you are a rock star, then there's a limit on how many depending on your sailing, and you have to make a reservation. But Mega, just go whenever you'd like.
Yeah, it was nice.
And it was included, which is usually an extra fee per day.
Yes.
So it gets expensive.
Oh, easily.
So that was a nice one to have. The other one is for theater shows. If you get there 20 minutes before, they have a separate line for rock stars, and you can go in and pick your seat wherever you'd like before the rest of the people start filing in.
Yep. And then one of the big benefits is as a Rockstar, Mega Rockstars, you have a Rockstar agent to handle everything. Basically, they're your butler on other cruise lines, but I would say this is a step up. This was probably the best experience we've had with kind of a butler style so far. They'll basically handle anything.
It was awesome. And we'll get a little bit more into that in the next topic, but
they just handle everything.
Yeah.
Just to reiterate again, as part of the benefits, you get early booking to restaurants, which is a huge thing on Virgin. You'll see a lot of people complain they can't get spots. You also get access to Richard's Rooftop, which is the suite area on the ship that is outside. It has a bar, lots of seating, loungers. It's at the front of the ship, if I remember right.
Yes.
It's at the front of the ship, so great views for sail away. And then you also, as with everyone else, you get the free Wi-Fi and all your food is included. But an added benefit is you do get free room service.
Yes, I like that. That's a plus for sure. And it doesn't cost you any extra. Just give your Rockstar agent a call and they'll bring it to you.
Yep.
We were Mega Rockstars, but I do just want to read off some of the things that you get if you're just a Rockstar, which will save you some money. So I think it's just kind of good to compare and see and contrast. So if you are a Rockstar, you get access to Richard's Rooftop. You get an in-room bar, but it is not bottomless like ours was. You get early booking for food as well as experiences, so like excursions and everything. And you do get a Rockstar agent, and that is what they get.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna score this one for what's included?
Yes.
All right, on 3. Or should I say 2 this time? No, 3. On 1, 2, 3, 5.
4.
Why?
Because everything is included and you don't need to pay for anything.
That should be
else.
a 5 by itself. Everything is included. You don't need to carry any money.
This is true.
Except for tips. You should always tip the crew.
That is true. But I feel like there was just a few.
Oh, no, you can't tip the crew on Virgin.
Yeah, you're not supposed. Your
wouldn't
tips are included.
Yeah, what? Yeah, sorry. I X that. Just for
Nope, say that though.
Yeah,
important.
so one of the things we always like to tip the crew extra above the gratuities. They would not take our tips. I tried the Rockstar agent, I tried our room stewards and stewardess, I've tried the bar. No one would take an additional tip.
And that is because Virgin does pay them a little bit more than others, and they kind of
That should
compensate for that.
Make it a 5.
That is nice when you budget for everything. I just felt like there was.
So you up at a 5 yet?
No, I'm still at a 4.
Okay.
I feel like there was just a few things missing, and we'll kind of go over that in our overall thing at the end.
Okay, fair enough. So next category is crew.
Crew / your Rockstar agent. Absolutely loved our Rockstar agent. I just want to say that. He was phenomenal. He was great. You can message your Rockstar agent through the app, or you also have a phone in your room. You can give them a call. The app worked great. The only thing they said with the app was that they may take a little bit to like respond, but if it was anything that wasn't like I needed it immediately and it was just like, hey, at some point today, can you do this? It worked great.
Yes.
Because I felt like I wasn't being super, super needy and being like, can you get this for me right now? It's not a rush. I don't need it right now. I'll just send you a text.
No, having the Rockstar agent was, again, the best experience.
Yeah, it was.
And it wasn't just the Rockstar agent, it was the like
crew and
the room
everybody.
steward, like, were fabulous. So the crew is amazing. You can definitely tell it's adults only though. Just based on the conversations, are a little bit more risque than your typical conversation on a cruise line.
It made it fun and amusing.
It made it fun.
It was different. I feel like it was a very
And they play
different
games
experience.
with you. Like on our ship, they had an octopus, and we would put it in different. It was almost like
Elf on a Shelf.
Elf on a Shelf, but it was octopus on a boat.
I mean,
Before anyone says it, octopus on a ship, I understand it's not a boat. But
I mean, and I say that also because we were right around Christmas, and so as being parents and having a child, we were very much in the Elf on a Shelf mentality. So we kind of just continued that with the octopus.
yeah, and they get to express themselves more than other cruise lines typically do. They get to show off their tattoos. Their dress is not as tied down to a set formal look. They kind of can wear different colors, different outfits. It's really a different vibe from the
They seemed
crew.
a little bit more laid back, a little bit more like they could be themselves, and they didn't have necessarily like a script that they kind of needed to follow. They could really kind of show their own personality a little bit more, which was refreshing.
But they were as attentive and as respectful and answered all your questions, did everything you needed as any other cruise ship, which was really nice.
Agreed.
All right, so overall, how would we rate the Rockstar agent and the crew on board on 3? 1, 2, 3, 5. 5 out of 5, easily.
Yeah.
All right, so the final category before we reveal if we would do it again and do we think it's worth it is the overall experience.
Yeah.
So you are definitely pampered when you're a Mega Rockstar, and you are treated as I assume Mega Rockstars are treated, except I didn't get a private plane. That would be...
You can't get everything.
But everything's included. It's a great experience.
You didn't have paparazzi either.
Did not have paparazzi. You do get a special band, so while you're on the ship, they can identify you as Mega Rockstars. Your band
It was the same as Rockstars.
Okay, but as a sweet guest, you get a black band. The crew will notice that, and they'll...
I mean, they treated everybody amazingly, so I
Yeah.
don't think it really mattered, but
But
it
I had
was
a black
helpful
band.
for, it was helpful for, like, the theater access and things like that.
Yeah, that's where it's beneficial, because they'll look to see what color bracelet you have.
Yes. There's a few things that I wish they had done with Mega Rockstars in comparison to some other cruise lines.
Yeah, like overall, it's, as a sweet guest, typically you have that restaurant, as I mentioned earlier. I think that something missing from the overall experience is that sweet restaurant feel.
And the biggest one, in my opinion, also is there was no like indoor suite area. So like on our cruise, one of our sea days, it poured down with rain, like really heavy rain all day. So
That's
nobody.
usually what poured means.
Okay, sorry. So nobody was up at Richard's rooftop, but it would have been nice to have had another place to go as suite guests. And just every other line that we've done has had that. I also especially think that if they're gonna do Alaska, kind of feel like that's needed. Yes, Richard's rooftop is amazing for like cruising through to the glaciers and everything, but there's a lot of times in Alaska where you're just sitting inside looking at the scenery, watching everything go by, and you don't want to be outside in the cold. So I think having an indoor lounge area for suite guests could be something that they could maybe work on in the future.
Yes.
The other thing I kind of wish was I just wish there was a coffee maker in a room. I know it's super silly, but sometimes it's nice to have a coffee maker in your room and just make your coffee before you go. Well, the ones that have it, I don't complain.
I just want to point out to the viewers on this channel, the amount of times Emma's actually made a coffee in the room.
Every time we have one, I do.
If it is an espresso.
Yeah. Well, Royal doesn't always have it. Whatever. I do make it if it is in the room. But hey, if I had a coffee maker in the room, I could have made an espresso martini in the room.
Okay, good point.
So there are things that it would have been helpful for. I mean, you got all that, the whole bar. It'd be nice to have a little coffee maker. And then there's one thing I don't know if I like or disliked. There was like no major announcements that were like piped through, which is good and bad. Bad because I felt like I was missing things or like I didn't know exactly what was going on, but also nice because you're not like taking a nap and then there's an announcement going on, or you're trying to do something and there's an announcement going on and they won't stop talking and it just keeps going. So that was an interesting one. There was a lot of like there apparently was a lot of like secret activities that happened on board, and I just felt like we missed out on a good amount of stuff. Like we never did any of those. But from what I've seen online, apparently they do these like secret, I don't know, shows or activities and stuff. So
we did not get invited.
We didn't get, which is fine. I don't need to be, but it was just, there was times, especially on sea days, where I was like, okay, now what are we gonna do? I feel like there's not much on the list of things to do.
But the drag queen show was
I
really
loved
drag queen bingo. You must go.
Queens. And the one other thing that was interesting was Richard's rooftop. It was not always open. I mean, it was open to like sit and lounge in, but the bar wasn't open.
Not that it wasn't open always. It just wasn't open at key times.
Like, we were in Bimini, we came back on the ship and we're like, oh, let's go up to Richard's rooftop to grab a drink. It wasn't open. On other lines, the suite bars are always open, so
at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, so it was just interesting. I mean, yeah, I could sit on the loungers, but I'd have to go somewhere else for a drink. So in my head, that means it's not open.
The last part on the overall experience is I find it very hard to define who this cruise line is for. If you ask me who Royal's for, who NCL's for, Celebrity's for, who Oceana's for, I've never been on Oceana, but if you would like us to go, let us know. We
could tell you who
who I could direct you in the right area of like, hey, this is the benefits, this is where I think based on what you're requesting you should go to. I can't do that with Virgin. Virgin says it's for everyone.
And I guess it is.
But I'm not sure it's for everyone.
Well, nothing is ever for everyone.
No. Now, we met several people on the ship that it was the first time on Virgin. We asked them if they would do it again. They would say no. We also met several people on the ship that now only sail Virgin. And I could tell you the clientele was the very same clientele. So the difference in opinion was very unique to me, because if you ask that on a different cruise line, it's very different. They're either loyal to Royal or Norwegian to heart. I don't know what the saying is for Norwegian, but Virgin was very different.
Yes, and I think to also reiterate on top of that, like we even talked to some crew members and we're like, who do you think this cruise line is for? Because we couldn't figure it out. And they were like, huh, that's interesting. I've been on for a few years. I couldn't tell you. And so that was that was very interesting that even the crew couldn't like pinpoint who their cruise line is really for.
Yeah, but it is a very inclusive cruise line, so I can feel how they're saying it's for everyone. However, there are just aspects of that voyage. If you're a traditional cruiser, you have kind of difference of opinions. I could see it not being for you.
Agreed.
All right, so that brings us to rating the overall experience, and then we will get into would we do it again. All right, so on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Overall
4.
experience, I was going to say 4.
So pretty good score.
Yeah, pretty good score.
Yep. Now, would we do it again? I'm not sure we would do it again as Mega Rockstars.
I don't think I'd spend the money on Mega Rockstars. As much as I loved the amount of alcohol we got, I think I could save money by doing a balcony room and pay for the other extras and things and make it not be as expensive.
Yep. So
it was a great experience. It was fantastic, but it is a good amount of money for everything that ends up being included at the end of the day.
Yes. It is the same price per day as your higher end rooms on other cruise lines. So it's very much the same. You do get a lot of the alcohol included. It is way too much alcohol. Will we do Virgin again? We'll probably do Virgin again.
Yeah.
But we will definitely not be doing Mega Rockstar.
No. If I find a good deal on Rockstar, maybe. But I don't think I'll be looking at Mega Rockstars unless I get offered the really, really big, massive, cool room.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
So if you've done Virgin before and you either agree or disagree with points on this, please leave a comment below. And until next time,
Get out and live a little.